Hi.
Welcome to Happy Hour with Ruth and Roxy, the short introductory version.
Yes, we wanted to step in again and just give a big heaping bunch of love to our U.S. friends, because we know it's hard and it feels like it's getting harder for you. But there is tomorrow's a huge protest across the country. I think we'll see, and by the time you see this, it will have been over. But it's everywhere tomorrow.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I saw, and I shared it on social, and I think lots of people are sharing it, is don't insult Trump, don't insult Musk, don't do that. That gets the maggots riled up. It's to say protect the Constitution, right? Is to take it out because who can argue with that?
Yeah.
Right. And but we're thinking about you. I think I might get Roxanne to film me walking up and down our little trail behind us with a sign tomorrow, with a sign saying that we stand with you, so that you can see it, right?
I can do that.
Because, we're challenged here too.
Yeah.
By what the Republican administration is doing, but also we've got our own election coming up.
Yeah.
And Roxanne and I have been talking about it a lot because it's really important. And there's disinformation out there, and it is malicious disinformation. So please, I don't care. You know what? I do care who you vote for, but everybody has a right to vote for who you're voting for. But if you're Canadian and watching this, please check out what you're believing about the candidate that you don't support, the same way you would defend the candidate that you do support. Don't take anything at face value. Make sure you fact check it. There's a lot of stuff out there about the candidate I support, and it's a disinformation campaign, and I know this because I checked it all out. So just make an informed vote, right? Make sure you're voting for a person who will uphold the rights of everyone you love and all the other people that aren't harming you. Make sure you know where they stand on things, right? Because what we don't do is have it happen in the U.S. where you're mad at one candidate, so you vote the other way, and you didn't actually understand how damaging that your vote could be.
If you're going to believe without checking, then believe equally.
Yeah.
If you're going to fact check, then fact check equally.
Yep.
Treat both sides the same so that you're getting balanced information and as much truth as you can.
Yeah, and try to remove, and I mean, I'm guilty of this, but try to remove the personal feelings you have for that specific candidate and look at their policies, right? Because it's easy to decide that you hate someone. And just make sure that the policies they're bringing in and what they're saying hold up to what they've done over the last decade. Because that's really important too, because it's easy to say in an election you'll do something when your record shows that you didn't.
Yeah.
Right. So again, that's just for everyone, but for our American friends, we stand with you. We are rooting for you, and we'll be there in spirit for sure. But I think I'll be there marching up and down our back trail tomorrow with you.
Sounds good. Now stay tuned for some more lightheartedness.
Yes.
And
Hi.
we're back.
We are.
Welcome to the real happy hour with Ruth and Roxy.
Yes. As happy as we can be, but like we said last episode, that sometimes you just need to have a break and talk about some of the other stuff. And it's not that it won't seep in, because you know me, and Roxy always has something to say about it, but she's much better at keeping things separate.
Sometimes.
And her fridge is tidier than mine, just saying.
Oh, wow. Okay. That probably is a stretch. But let's start with, if you were with us last week, you know that what did we drink? Oh, we drank non-alcoholic beer last time. Yes.
I fell off the wagon already.
It was sad. But this is
happy
happy
we
hour.
drank alcohol. We
did a taste test.
Yes, we did.
A taste
so we
test
did do
with
some
Guinness and zero Guinness.
Yes.
And discovered that, you know what? I can't tell the difference.
You can feel the difference.
You can feel the difference.
You can't tell the difference.
But you can't tell it.
But we're back. We're back on moderate, because I'm working to be a bit healthier, and so's Roxy, because maybe I can speak for myself. I had some winter weight I got to get rid of.
Well, guess who's on his statin now for gravy blood, basically, and
it's my fault.
They're like, minimize alcohol, or no, moderate alcohol consumption. I'm like, well, check. I'm there already. Yes. My doctor asked me, and I said probably an average of, let's say 5 drinks a week if I'm not drinking during the week at all. And I don't, maybe every other day I'll have a glass of wine with dinner. And then on the weekend, if we get together, we'll have something. But my husband hardly drinks anymore, and it's not that fun to drink alone. So, now if you're off the wagon too, or if you're on the wagon too.
Well, yeah,
that's the way all my
off
fun.
The wagon. But so one of the things I learned from going and just checking out sort of some health stuff and all the things is moderation. And it's not that we drank that much. I mean, at happy hour, I was usually the one that had that extra glass of wine. But honestly, it wasn't like I've seen other people drink a lot more than we could ever consume, right? And so it wasn't that much. But you know what? When if you're trying to lose weight or fix cholesterol or fix any of the things, right? It's good to do yourself a little reset.
Yeah,
and
it is.
We don't drink sweet wine. Like red wine, a glass of red wine's good for you, according to every Italian person I know, gotta say.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it goes everything in moderation, including Roxanne, bless her little heart. She gave us 1 serving each of potato chips. Usually we put out a big bowl, but we're you know what? We're just trying.
We're trying
to be 80% good.
But it really looks pathetic. Like, I mean, honestly, that's not a bowl of chips.
It's a serving.
That is an appetizer bowl of chips.
It's a serving.
So yesterday we went out for dinner with friends at this biker pub that I've told you about before. Yep. We just had such a good time. My husband ordered pierogies with a side of French fries because there's not enough carbs in pierogies already.
There's a double carb for you.
Yeah, but that was great though because I didn't have French fries.
Right.
I had soup and a sandwich, which was delicious, but then I got to have some of his fries.
Right. See? Little bits of things sometimes,
yes,
right?
Exactly. It worked out.
Yep.
But I do love French fries and potato chips very, very much.
Well, I was having this conversation, and I think it might have been with Paul, who doesn't care as much about French fries as I do. And we're having a conversation about if you were on a deserted island, and I've said it's potatoes. And he's like, but you can't just have potatoes, because how are you going to make them? And I was like, I think I'm ever going to be on a deserted island. I mean, not like we're going to get that realistic. But he said, pick one, French fries or potato chips. And it was like,
ooh,
I don't know.
On a deserted island, I would say potato chips because they'll be in a bag and stay fresh.
But what if you had a bunch of potatoes in a fryer? Then you can make potato chips.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is a fantasy island you're on, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And I would just like to take a little sidebar here and thank you for saying a deserted island instead of a desert island, which most of us say because that's what we learned.
Right.
And we're like, wait a second, it's an island and it's a desert, but that means it's in the middle of water. So is it really a desert, or do you mean deserted?
See, I had
which
to
is
have
what
a whole,
everyone thinks.
I had to have a whole conversation in my head about that just as I was saying it. It was like, what's the word? Because I'm with the wordsmith. So it's kind of like, what are you saying, Ruth? What are you saying?
So yesterday we're walking the dogs out back, and I was trying to tell Ruth that Ray and I might take our dogs to this little area sort of off property where it's forested and we can run a little bit more with the dogs. So we normally have our path that we walk to the mailbox and back. And I said, we might, and then I lost the word I was looking for. And what I wanted to say was, you might go this way and we will continue on this way. But what I said was, we might break up with you.
So it's like, what?
And then in the middle of the night, I'm trying to sleep, and I went, diverge. That's the word I was looking for. Our path might diverge from yours. And I used the word converge somewhere. And as I was thinking, I'm like, converge. Why is that important right now?
Were you playing Scrabble last night?
I was playing Scrabble last night.
Was it converge in there?
No, that's a great, that would have been like a winning word for me. My words were like bat. It was terrible. It was a terrible game.
Okay, but as what's going through my head, as she says, I think you said we're going to break up with you. Not we might. And so I was like, what? Okay, we're breaking up. And then then they didn't diverge from us.
Yeah.
And we went home. And then Roxanne said, as we're going in our different gates, okay, not going to see you tonight on our walk. And it was like, she is breaking up with me. Which is not true because we're here.
We're here. Yes, but on the who's breaking up with who story, tell us.
I'm just giving you somewhere else to go.
That's true. Yes, that is what I'm clinging to.
See, it all comes back to food.
But you may have a nibble on your house.
We might. So we had a second showing today, and this group, let's call them, because I don't know if it's I don't know their structure. Second showing.
It's a family of 8.
It's
you are in
1,400
trouble.
people, Roxanne.
Oh.
And they all no, you would like it if they were up late at night because you're a late
No,
at night
I would
person.
not. I don't want anyone to be up late at night. I want to be quiet on both ends of the day, plus in the middle.
But anyway, they looked at our house. They looked at 2 others in our community too, and they saw them again today. But we just got a text from our fabulous realtor, Stephen Van Giel, who said, yeah, right now you're top of the list, but they're going to make a decision by the end of the weekend. So, and then he asked us what our close date was or whatever that is. So that made me think that made it feel serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Closing dates.
we'll see. But it's kind of, as I was walking over here, it was like, first of all, it was like, oh God, should I tell her? Because, it's not real yet. It's not true.
Of course you tell me.
But it's not true.
I'm on this journey with you.
But it's not true.
But it's not certain. It is true. It's not certain.
Okay, there. See, told you. It's a freaking word, policeman. But it was kind of like, it's a little bit like, well, there's a question for you. So you find out something that can't be changed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you find out something that could be upsetting or challenging for someone at 9 p.m. at night, and they're asleep. Do you call and wake them to tell them, or do you wait till the morning?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would wait till the morning. Ooh.
That's a hard one, right? It's a really hard one.
Even as I say that, though, I've not done that. I've woken people up for bad news. And you know what? Like, there's one incident in particular I'm thinking of, and she knew before she answered the phone what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, but it's interesting because I think about would I want to know that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those things where it's just like, would you feel what would that person feel like if they woke up and it was like, oh my God, I had this great sleep while everybody else was up concerned about this,
and it depends a little bit if it's an ongoing thing. So I'm just
Right.
thinking about my example. So our youngest daughter's dog was injured on my watch after she'd left home for university, and she got injured, and I had to call her and say, Gemma's in rough shape, and we're taking her to the Emerge Hospital right now. But Gemma survived. She was fine. Yeah. She had quite the experience, but she recovered from it.
Yeah.
But there was a few days in Emerge, there was some
Right.
critical care and all that stuff. So if it was, and then I'm thinking of, oh God, this has happened a few times. I'm thinking of when our middle daughter's dog died. We called her right away. So that was a morning. We found out in the morning and called her right away. But so it's like with Meg, this is sort of an ongoing thing, right? With Andrea, I mean, dead is dead. What are you going to do, right? So, but it was the daytime, so we called her right away. But yeah, it depends a little bit on the circumstances. Yeah. Okay, I took us down another dark path, so you need to get us out of here.
Okay, I can get us out. But I do think that's something I think, maybe comment on in the comments and stuff. I would want to know. And only because, I don't want to wake up and have had this beautiful sleep and I'm having my coffee and then somebody tells me something that happened at 9:00 last night. So I have, my parents had really, really good friends, and my mom passed away in the afternoon, and we told the husband about it, but he didn't tell his wife till the next morning, right? Because it was like by the time he got home and all the stuff, and he was like, she was tired and going to bed and all the things, and they were 2.5 hours away. Like, it's not like they could have come down to right. He told her in the morning, and I think that was a kind thing to do. I would have wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think it was the intention was incredibly compassionate, right?
Yeah.
Because then she wouldn't have slept.
Yeah.
Right. And the next day was busy. Then they were down like early in the morning.
Okay. That's the thing, though. It is information, and information is power, right? So you have power that someone else wants, and you're making a decision when they can have it.
But that's
as opposed to if they were to get it when everyone else gets it, then they're like everyone. So to me, you kind of should tell them right away.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. I would like to sleep, frankly. If I'm asleep, never wake me up, because it takes me a while to get there, and once I'm there,
okay, so
I will hurt you. However,
right.
if it's, I still want to know,
right? So it's right, but it's an interesting thing to think about, and it may be contextual. Like it might be like, you know, I mean, we have a deal. If something happens in our houses and something is going on, we come and get each other because that's because we help each other.
Yeah.
Right. But we're also next door neighbors, and you can actually do something.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Whether it might just be comforting someone.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like it's one of those things. It'd be interesting to hear what each of you thinks about what would you do and what would you do in what context. I personally just want to know.
Yeah.
I don't like not knowing, and I don't like the feeling of being told, and all of a sudden I'm behind the whatever
momentum of the thing. Yeah. You're playing catch up, and you're like and you feel then less important if you're the last one. So we did have my husband's very close friend passed away. This is over 20 years ago now, and they were best friends. They were the closest of friends, but there was a little. The wife didn't really approve of the friendship, I think, and so he died very suddenly. He was like not even 40, and in fact, I think and. She never did call us. It was the pastor that she eventually called to come to the house who called me. He came to the house to tell me Ray was at work, and I was like, oh my God, I have to tell my husband that Eric's dead. And I called him at work, and he like canceled all his appointments, came home right away, and we went to the house. But like it was 5 hours later by that point, and it was weird because everyone knew how close they were. You know, and it was not a good scenario.
But see, that's a different side of it, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Is like, and that's where it goes. Like, knowledge is power. But the other thing is for me, let's say something happened to somebody in your family who maybe I don't know well, right, or anything. I would hope you would just even call and tell me that this was going on, so I could say, I can take the dogs. What do you guys need?
Yes.
I can come over and make you omelets or something because you're busy
so
doing
this
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like even just that kind of stuff is sometimes the opportunity to give comfort to someone, right? Or if it's bad news that's going to impact them, is to be able to tell them in a way that's like, look, this is hard, and I'm going to tell you now, but I'm on my way.
Yes.
You know, I think that's part, but I think it is personal choice, and I think it is the situation, right? Because honestly, like,
well, and some people handle stress and the stress of crisis better than others, right? I'm pretty. I think it's fair to say I'm pretty chill in a crisis. I want to know stuff, and I'm not a chicken in the head cut off kind of responder, but some people react very badly, and they need things to be somewhat taken care of by the time they come in.
No, and maybe that's it. Like you and I are both. I'm much better in a crisis than I am in real life, to be fair.
You know, right? that is an interesting. I think you and I might have that in common. Yeah, I can blow a molehill into a mountain pretty quick, and that's a catastrophe, let me tell you.
Yes.
But the actual problems.
But then you step in and you do what has to be done.
You do what has to be done. Yeah.
And I expect for you that's from being in the animal world, and too. It's also probably what attracted you to it, right? Is because you have to think on your feet.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, but it is an interesting thing. But the other side is there's this little part of me that just wants to know everything anyway, right? And
that's the communication / writer side.
Right.
Me too. I'm like, oh, this is a story. I want to know this story, whether it's tragic or whatever.
But it is. It would be interesting to hear from people, because again, perspective is everything, right?
Yeah.
Although I have to say, and I mean, Paul's been very good about listening to me as I've gone on and on about especially what's going on in the U.S. But it's like, there are some days when he's like, I don't want to know anything today. I can't take it.
Yeah.
Right? And I get that.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that he recognizes those days, right? Because sometimes it's like, you know what? One more marble in that trash can is going to just roll around, make too much noise. I'm going to lose them all.
Yep. Nope, it's true, right? Nope, absolutely. No, that's good. Okay, let's talk about books.
Ooh, let's talk about books. So this is weird for me, but I'm in a bit of a drought. I think I might have been last time when we talked too. I'm right now rereading comfort reads, books that I know are good, because I've got like, I don't know, I think 1,200 is a reasonable guess for the number of books on my Kindle right now.
there's a contest for you. How many books are on Roxanne's Kindle? We'll come back next time on
we'll
that.
Come back and check on that.
There might be a prize in there.
Ooh, we could do that. That's a good idea. But you have to scroll through, right? Like, and it takes a while.
Scrolling isn't that? It's
terrible.
Yeah.
Their scrolling is terrible. It's actually easier to go into your Kindle account, or your Amazon account, and look and see what you've got. So I've started doing that. I've also started taking ones off my Kindle that I know I'm not going to read for a while. They stay in your account.
Yeah, you can still access them.
You can still access them. But anyway, so I hadn't been, and I buy books every month. I buy books almost every day, actually. So there's lots to choose from, but sometimes they just don't grab me, and I just want something I don't have to really think about. So I started rereading this book called The Accidental Bestseller. The author's name is Wendy Wax. Have I told you about that one before?
No, but I've read it.
Have you read it?
I have.
It's so cool because it's a story it's a story within a story, and it is set in the world. It's set in the world of writing, which actually makes it it's really cool for those of us who know that world. And the story itself is interesting enough if you're not in that world, but it's the main character has her life is falling apart. She's lost the contract to her latest, her publisher has decided to drop her because her numbers suck, which is a real thing. Her husband is leaving her for a younger woman. Her kids have just moved out, and so she's in a bad space. The problem with her publisher, though, is they have informed her that they're dropping her before she's completed the second book in her contract. So they're like, yeah, turn in your next book, but we're not taking any more after that. So can you imagine how
that's motivating,
demoralizing that is? You've got to finish this friggin' book, and you can't just turn in crap because it's they're still going to publish it.
Yeah.
And even though they're not going to put a good cover on it, they're not going to put any promo after it, it's still your name on it. And if it's crap, you're attached to crap. So you still have to do a good job, even though they will never make it pay for you. So that's where she's at. So she loses it, just basically leaves the house, goes up to the mountain house, which everyone in these books seem to have, that she inherited from her grandparents. Yeah. So anyway, she goes up to the mountain house and she recruits her there's a group of 4 of them that are friends.
Yes.
And they started off writing, and they've, come up together. And so they decide to collaborate and write this contract book together. And what they end up, and they're all facing some challenge of their own. And what they end up doing is writing their own lives truer than they've ever told anyone else, because it's not attached to them.
Right.
And anyway, the book ends up doing really well for various reasons, and they're outed, of course.
Yeah.
And so you see what comes of all of that. But it's a really great story, and I think I might be thinking about that because I'm entering into a collaboration with my friend Leanne, who watches us on this podcast. Hi, Leanne.
Hi, Leanne.
And I'm thinking, how can I make sure that these terrible things don't happen to me and Leanne? Ooh. Collaborations. I have not yet had one that has been super successful. I haven't exactly lost friends over it, but I wouldn't say it's been a great experience so far. I've never done a collaboration like the one I'm going to do with Leanne, but
this is a collaboration.
This is definitely a collaboration.
So, see?
This one works. There is writing involved, actually, but yeah, this one works. I can work as a team. I can be a team member.
So it has worked. See?
Yes. Reframing, yes. I think
maybe you just didn't have the right collaborations. Which doesn't mean everyone involved isn't good.
Yes.
Sometimes you need it's the how it works together.
It's the how it works together, and I haven't had one that's worked really, really well together. I've had some that have been
this
okay. This one works great. This one works really, really good. It's the best collaboration ever.
She knows I'm being needy today.
Anyway, that's what I'm reading. What are you reading?
So I actually was saying and again, like this goes back to the world is, I was going to say upside down, but let's face it, it's shit.
It's shit.
Right? But so what happens, and it happened in the pandemic, is what people do is we turn to the arts. Mm-hmm. We turn to plays and music and television and
dance,
movies and books. And so
things.
I've been finding more and more. And I mean, I try to read at least a little every day. And sometimes it's like I get up in the morning with my first coffee, right? well, with my first coffee, I look at Facebook. It might be my second coffee, but or the news, but then or at lunch and stuff. But her name is Trisha O'Malley, and I found her because it's Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
Right. So I found her, and I was just looking around, and I went into it. And it's called the Siren Island series, and I am, I don't mean
those
anything.
are good words to start with. Island, yes,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Siren?
Siren, yes,
Yeah,
I'm
but
in.
that's just it. And I am. If they don't have a cell phone in the book, I'm not reading it, right? So, but this, it's set in modern day times, but it's like these women end up. Somehow they're called to the island, right? Something happens in their life, and somebody mentions it, and they fly off impromptu because all of us can do that. But anyway, but it does suspend your disbelief enough to do it, and then they all end up engaged in Leanne, you'll like this, in magic.
Oh yes, that's right.
And magic with a K, just saying.
Oh
right?
yes, even better.
So
CK or just K?
CK.
Yes. Okay.
Right, and so it
I
turns
really
out.
am. Oh my God, I just heard it myself. Okay.
She's like Cliff Clavin
I totally am.
for anyone who knows that reference. It's from Cheers. But it's so they end up there. But what I really like, because it could, in my head when I first started, it's like, oh, this would be a great beach read, sitting on the beach or sitting out back, all of this. But then it's like, these are strong women, and they've had the first one starts, and she's an accountant, and she gets passed over, of course, for a promotion by a guy who's a liar and a schmoozer at work, right? He plays the political game. And so she's really like, her self-confidence, she comes from a family of lawyers, and they're like, told you should have been a lawyer. Like, when did you do that for? So she goes there, and she's like this meek, shattered human. And then you start to see these things happen and build up, and where she stays is run by very strong women. And I'm not going to say much more about it because I don't want to have a spoiler alert. But all of a sudden, she finds herself in this situation where, there's this, a couple doors down, and he runs the boat charters, and he's interested in her. But she's like, screw you. Like, in these books, the women have all the power, but they also talk about power over your choices with your body and other things. They talk about a whole bunch of stuff that honestly, the more I see are talked about in books.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't, I've not seen the word like abortion and stuff.
Yeah.
But there are very strong themes of like, I make my own choices, and you got nothing to do with this, dude.
Yeah.
And by the way, even you people trying to help me, don't tell me what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, at this moment, I think that's a really powerful message, given how powerless some are feeling.
Yeah.
Right. But and I think there's 4 books. There might be 5, but I mean, honestly, absolutely worth a read. And I was just saying to Roxanne before we taped, I'm sad when they end, even though I know there's another one coming.
That's
right?
huge. I'm gonna look those up.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that would work.
Yeah.
Like, I've been thinking about language a lot. Oh, duh. I think about language all the time. But language in the context of like, you're talking about empowerment, these women on this island, and think about so in the patriarchal world that I grew up in, that we all grew up in.
Yep.
There is so much language that supports that, and I'm looking for a word that means sustains, builds it up. Come on, help me here. I need a thesaurus. Where's a thesaurus when you need one?
She's playing Scrabble by herself.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm a terrible Scrabble player, though. Like, I suck. I'm always the loser. Anyway, so what I was thinking about was the ESS suffix. Okay, you know what drives me crazy? Authoress.
Right.
Poetess.
Right.
Seamstress. I don't know that there is an alternative to that, so it's probably tailor or seamstress, so that's probably fine. But I never use the word actress because I don't like, the implication is that the actor is the real one.
Yep.
Oh, if you're an actress, you're a female actor. I also don't like the term male model.
No.
You're just a model. You are what you are, and gender is kind of beside the point with all those things.
So actually, tailor and seamstress would be the same, because you're giving them 2 different names for doing the same
the same work.
Right. And I mean, tailor, I expect the only way I could see it different is if a tailor is predominantly making male clothes, but it should then be a tailor
for men.
Right. Yeah.
And tailor for women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, that's what seamstresses do. They tailor clothing.
Yeah.
And they fix stuff.
Yeah, but that goes back to like all of these little nuanced stuff, right? Of the words the patriarchy used. So when somebody breaks through them, it's really interesting because in books, and I'd have to go back and check because I get this strong thing, and the women are clearly in power on this island.
Okay.
But it never took me out of the story to have her put that message forward, right?
That's good.
And there are some that have to, like think back to what was the, there was Sally Field was in one called Norma Ray, and then there was the woman. Dang, I'm gonna forget, and that's terrible. But she was a. She fought for clean water in the U.S. and
Silkwood.
Yeah.
Not Silkwood?
No, yeah, but there was another one too. So all these women, but so the names they used for them, it wasn't activist, and it wasn't anything. It was all negative, right? It was power hungry. It was, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And when you think about that, so
instead of assertive, they were bitches.
But that's exactly like if a male was fighting for that, and especially back then, I mean, still now, male was fighting for it. It's like he's on the side of the community.
Yeah.
But for her, it was like she's just trying to get in the spotlight.
They use the word strident.
Strident. That's
right?
Yes.
Like, set my teeth on edge. No, strong. Yeah. Just say strong.
But that's just it. And it's you see those things online quite often where it's like ambitious, right? And I'm going to forget her name too. She's from Dragon's Den, the woman, and she's doing really great. Arlene Dickinson.
Yes.
Dickinson. Yes. Anyway, she's like, there is nothing wrong with being ambitious. Like, don't let anybody. But so it would be a positive for a male, and it's a negative for a woman, right? Yep. And so it would be assertive for a male, and it's bitch for a woman, right? Like, and when you hear those words, like more and more, I'm calling them out. Maybe not in the gentlest way I can, but it's like, if it was a guy doing that, what would you say?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. It changes everything. It changes the understanding of the behavior. So taint is a word you can't use anymore. Did you know that?
Why?
Does anyone here know? Probably some of you know. I will tell you later.
Okay.
But anyway, it taints the behavior that these women are doing when you use that kind of language. And that's the point of it, right? That is the point, is to disempower. Yeah. When you say, "Oh, you're just being a bitch. Oh, you must be on the rag," right? Something.
Oh, I know it's your time of the month.
Wow. Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like
that kind of stuff.
And even when people say it and they think it's like said jokingly. It's like but it's one of those. I mean, it's one thing because now we're hearing it, women of our age, and I would probably say, anyone who's an adult now. But what I worry about are the little girls hearing it. Yeah, right.
That's it. Right. That's it.
And it goes back to it. It's like it's time to call it out. Because you might know it and be able to be like, that's who he is. But you know what? You don't know who's listening.
Yeah.
And you're calling it out might change something for them.
So having 3 daughters, as I do, I've been schooled.
3 strong, smart daughters.
Smart daughters. That is a, I'm very proud of the strength and the intelligence of my girls. Also, when they use it against me, I'm like, thank you. I'm grateful for what you are giving me right now. It doesn't always feel good, but I understand how necessary it is because they are farther ahead on this journey than I am. Like, I gave them the tools. I tried to model as much as I could, and and still am. I mean, I'm learning. So they're learning at a much faster rate than me. And so they're schooling me.
But which is really good. But the other side of it is, you broke a pattern so that they could get stronger.
It's true.
Right? Like you also have to look they get to, it's a little bit like, I grew up, we were fortunate enough to have a cottage. I grew up there was a boat and we could water ski, right? So from an early age, I was a good water skier. Well, take somebody who's never been near water and say, get on these skis, right? Like the thing is, it was easy for me to accelerate in water skiing because I had all the comforts of knowing it, right? So what you've done, though, is broke a cycle because you do come from a patriarchal, like very, and I mean, I did too, but mine wasn't quite as rigid or structured as yours. Yeah. Right.
I'm just jotting down here a few things just off the top of my head. The language of the religion that I grew up with, very patriarchal. So, you go out for fellowship. Right. When you want further education in the religion, you go to seminary. So seminary is a male, it's based on seminal fluid, right?
Right.
That's where that comes from, which is a generative word, right? But you could say we're going to ovarian school, you know what I mean? Or something ooh school. That's a tough one.
No, but I have to go to stupid penis school.
Yeah.
Stupid penis juice school.
Right, exactly.
Right? Like, come on, man.
God is the Father. God is the Son. God is the Holy Ghost. There's
and they're all
so
boys.
much masculine stuff in there. And when I questioned that as a young adult, and I learned very quickly not to question those things, it was, that's just the language. They understand that. But what I would love to do is to reframe all of that and then go to these people and say, we're going to have some sisterhood now. We're going to talk to Mother God for a while, and we're going to, thank her for her bounteous blessings. And I would like to see how they feel about that, because it's one thing to say, that's just the language. We understand it includes everyone, but the human race, man, the human race, woman, do you still feel included?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we have grown up with. That's what we've always lived with. We've always had to understand that, we are the add-on. We are the asterisk. We are but you understand. You're included. Okay. Actually,
include us.
We're not the focus.
Yep.
So we are also the, like, what if it was Mrs. and Mr. Mrs. and Mr. Roxanne Snowpeck.
Or what if it was Mrs. and Mr. Ray, I don't know your maiden name.
Oh, Willems.
Right? So what if it was the other way?
That's right.
Right?
Oh, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, and we've been conditioned, but I think it's really good, when those younger that call us on it, because, I've had, and I'm trying to think of who it was, but somebody was like, why are you the one that always does the cooking in the house? Well, I do that because I like it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that it is it's traditionally female
Gender
role,
yeah.
but I like it. Also, Paul would only make craft dinner, so Okay, so that interruption was brought to you by Paul, who had the best round of his life.
Very important.
Yeah, he had to come and tell us. Also, I had the keys to get in the house.
All the things are important. What are we at here already? Oh, we're at 35. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Just
Although that was 5 minutes, so we're at 30.
okay. We're at 30. Okay, we got more to talk about.
We do have more to talk about. Okay, what else we got? Okay, I'm going to talk about how I felt like an agent of the resistance this week.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I follow this page. It's called, we'll link to it, the Alt National Park Service, and they've been up since 2016 when Donald Trump first got elected. And they just want to tell you, it started out with a small group, but they just wanted to tell you what was going on with the parks and all that kind of stuff, because they were, Trump wants to put his head on Mount Rushmore. So Mount Rushmore is a disgusting piece of crap anyway. It was sacred Indian ground. And then they carved those faces in it, right?
I did not know any of that.
Oh, but now Donald Trump wants his face put up there. And I think that way back then, that's what they were talking about. So they were coming out, and I don't know if that's what started it, but they were coming out to tell us what was really going on and how, they were kind of internally the resistance. They weren't letting things get swept under the rug kind of thing. Well, now we're back, and it's worse because they've laid off a bunch of park people and they're going after people and the whole Elon Musk kind of thing. So they've gotten more serious about it. And now also they just posted, they're 200,000 strong. I think they started with about 100. So these are federal employees all across the U.S., some who no longer because they've been let go.
Okay.
And it's not just Park Service people anymore. It's a whole bunch. But so they put things up, and every once in a while, like they'll be like, hey, this is what's going on. And we answer and say how grateful we are that we're getting info from them and all this stuff. Every once in a while, they'll put up numbers like, and sometimes they're in numbers and sometimes they're in words. And it will say 942 3, right? And then they're like, not for the general, not for everybody, right? It's like it's just a thing for them. They're giving themselves, they have codes.
Oh.
And usually they'll be like, don't worry about this, you guys, it's no big deal. Or they'll come on and they'll say, hey, can you help us amplify this post? And it'll be one we don't understand, but we all say stuff in it like, hey, we love you guys, so it gets pushed up the feed.
Okay.
Well, this time they came on a couple of days ago and they said, hey, can you guys just do random chatter here? Because, something's going on and we need to do this, right? So I put in a little paragraph about how I miss Jimmy Buffett, and all of a sudden there were hundreds of people talking about how they missed him, which was really beautiful. But what we were also doing was doing the chatter on the page by talking about it.
More important.
What that was for, because they came back and said, thank you guys, we achieved it. there was stuff going on with Elon Musk's little boys, and they were coming after us. So we don't know whether they wanted to just screw up so they couldn't search through all the things easily.
Okay.
Right, because they had something like 32,000 comments, right, from all of us just randomly talking.
Yeah.
Right, and some people were putting up like English muffin recipes, or they were talking about, oh, I saw this car today, blah, blah. Like, it was random.
Okay.
But it was really interesting because just for a minute, we were helping, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing, but they came on the day. First they said, hey, we accomplished it, thank you. But then they came on after, and it's like, someday I hope we can tell you guys what that was for and how much you helped us.
Oh, wow.
Right? So we don't know.
So I know I've liked them, but I need to go back into Facebook. So we had this conversation earlier because I follow Heather Cox Richardson, and her posts have been disappearing off Facebook. And she's a historian who talks about current events in light of past events, which is the context is amazing. Like, it helps so much to understand.
Brilliant.
And her posts have been taken down. They've been disappearing.
Yeah.
And like, for just a little while, I had the thought, I am done with Facebook. I am so done. All I see is ads. They don't show me the things that I want to see. I have to go search them out. Now Heather Cox Richardson is disappearing. I don't see your stuff. Like, I have to search for your stuff. I don't see this alt national park stuff. And your comment to me was, don't leave Facebook, because if you leave it,
We have a visitor.
Briefly being assaulted by a poodle here. If you leave, then it's in control of just the people who want to be in control. Stay, but don't fall into any of the stuff. Don't buy anything on Facebook, I don't buy anything on Facebook anyway.
And if you see something you like, don't even click on it, right? Because it remembers your IP. Yeah. So if you see it, go Google the company that's the ad is for, right? And do it directly at their website, because you can use Facebook for all the things that are free and screw them over and use it. Because what happens if we all leave these things is it becomes like Twitter is now, or what like True Social is. And it's this hellscape of bigots and racists and awful people, right? And this is a good way to get the message out, because you don't know what you're sharing. There might be somebody on the fence about some stuff, and you might push forward something where they go, oh my God, I was wrong. Not sure maggots are gonna,
No,
but there are still some, right? There are people coming up that are saying, I thought I was voting, for getting rid of waste and doing all the things and stuff. And it's like, honestly, no, actually offense. Like, you got to be really stupid if you thought he was ever going to do that. But the thing is, lots of people aren't, they're not well informed. Right? They read the headline. But that's just it. Stay, push things forward. Because so I had somebody contact me that is a friendly acquaintance, I guess. And she's in Alberta. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but she sent me this beautiful message that said, thank you for speaking out. It's given me the courage to speak out. Ooh. And that's Trump's never going to see my posts. I'm never going to be able to, I don't
know. I think they're going to haul you off in handcuffs
anytime. I don't think I'm ever going to be allowed back. Well, he's in power in the States, and not that I would go, but the other side of that is if I can empower 5 people and they empower 5, and it goes on like that. And also, I want the people out there who are trans and in the LGBTQ2S, like that community, to know that people give a crap.
That's exactly right. That's why I don't post very often, but even with my books, that's why I write the things I do, is so that other people will understand that I'm on their side, or I'm trying to tell a story that has not been told, or somebody I know has been silenced. Here's the real story. People need to know that stuff. I mean,
and they need that they're being seen and respected and backed up, right?
And backed up, and not disappeared, right? Like we have a trans person in our family, and I want this person to know that I get it. I don't get it. That's the wrong language. But I care. I am supportive. I'll probably not ever see this person again. We don't live in the same province, but this person is facing a lot of bad stuff, a lot of negativity, a lot of lack of support, a lot of being ostracized, right? I want to let them know that's not happening here.
No, and that's just it. And so the other thing is, and I've talked about my friend Lori before, who's the trauma therapist, and I checked in with her this morning, and she said, so I'm on day 4 with a patient, a client, because she's a therapist, right?
Yeah.
So it's a client. And she said of trying to pull this person along far enough so they won't commit suicide, right? And it's just like, and she, at that moment she was just sitting in her car talking to them and trying to so this is what happens. And she works with mostly trans youth, or a lot of trans youth. I don't think totally, but it's like these people are seeing what's happening, and they think they don't belong. And so my post saying, hey, you know what, I'm here. Yeah. I'm a safe space. And reaching out to people that I know that are in that community saying, I am here, right? I am in Canada. If somebody needs to get out, I'll figure it out. You get to a border, cross a border, and I will get you. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's because some of them don't have anywhere else to turn. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? If your family rejects you, your community rejects you, if you're in a geographically unfriendly area, you're what are your choices? You can come out and be targeted, or you can stay in and live a lie, stay in the closet and live a lie and hate yourself.
But that's just it, and never be allowed to be. Can you imagine? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I can. It's terrible.
Right? Like, it's like, but that's just it. Like, I think even more and more now, women are starting to be in a position where it's like, I'm ambitious. You know what? Early on, it would be like, that's a little arrogant, right? Like, I want a company that's successful.
Yes, exactly. Those, like, if you've been raised in that's enough for a girl, or be nice, smile, you look better when you smile. Why are you doing that? Doesn't your husband make enough money? All those sorts of things. If that's how you were raised, which is it's
quite traditional.
It's very traditional.
And it's not like, that's not like, it is not unheard. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's a rare thing anymore.
And if that's what you want, that's fine. But if that's not, and how do you know that that's not what you want if you're never given the opportunity, if you're never encouraged to say, you can do hard things. You why don't you try for this? Why don't you apply to medical school? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You can do it.
Also, you can apply to medical school. You're smart enough to do this.
Exactly.
Right?
Not that medical school is the be all and end all.
No, but you know what? Or if you want to be a writer, lots of people and I actually, and I know the Big Bang Theory is like my sleeping pill, but it's like there was one on, and it was that one of the main characters, Leonard, was trying to write a book.
Yes.
Right? And in it, and then in sort of all these series, at one point his mother says, "You're a physicist. What makes you think you could write a book?" And now she said it to a male, but it's also like, every day somebody writes a book.
Why pigeonhole me into only one thing?
Hi.
Hello.
Isn't he beautiful?
Hi. What are you
beautiful.
Doing here? What are you doing?
He looks like Shaggy on Scooby-Doo.
Okay, there's 40 pounds of love.
That's okay. But again, especially at this time when we have political parties who will be in charge of making laws and stuff, who are in charge, who are making rules that you can't do this, right? Yeah. They're taking away DEI. Yeah. They're going after especially the trans community. I mean, they're going after everyone who isn't white, cis, and what else you got there? You had something good.
Yeah, I do, and it is there. So there's a woman that I follow on. I met her at a writers' conference years ago. Her name is Becca Syme. She's a writer's coach, and she runs a podcast, and she takes on private clients. She's very skilled in identifying strengths, and she follows a very particular program of strengths identification, whatever. And I haven't done that part with her, but I listened to her podcast, and she had a thing on her podcast recently that referenced JOMO. Okay, so most of us have heard of FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? Yep. And on this podcast, she was recommending that we embrace the joy of missing out, because one thing that she's found with the number of people that she's coached is that there are so many of us that are jumping from one thing to the other. Oh, I got to learn about ads. Oh, I got to learn about AI. Oh, I'm actually speaking of myself right now. Oh, I got to learn about book descriptions. Oh, I got to try writing paranormal. That's hot right now. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do all the things because I don't want to miss out. One of these could be my big chance. And her point was, and I know this, most of us know this, everything you try, everything you say yes to, means saying no to something else. And until you start to balance, until you start to look at everything instead of reactive, oh, here's this thing popped into my inbox, I better do it right now. That's a reaction. Instead of saying, ooh, I think I will freak out about that later because right now I want to have coffee and sit with my husband.
Right. That's
the joy of missing out.
That's good.
I'm probably paraphrasing it badly. Becca Simon, if you're out there, I'm really sorry. But I like that.
Becca Simon, if you're out there, you should come on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. And part of what got me started thinking that is I've been part of this rock choir, which has been super fun. Unfortunately, I got that nasty cough partway through, and it's really tough to cough and sing at the same time. So I had quite a few rehearsals where I just walked out, tears streaming down my face, coughing
from the
my
coughing.
Not
from the crying.
No coughing. Just can't breathe. And then I'm like, yeah, not fun. Anyway, but it's
she
really
does sound
fun.
Effects too.
Always. And they're starting a second season. Our concert is in 2 weeks, I think. And no, there are no tickets. I blew it. Have no tickets for
I would have Facebook Lived her, man.
Yeah, you would have.
That's why she says there's no tickets. I think there's really tickets.
So they're starting the second session, and I thought, it's going to go through summer. I know, like, the woman that I drive with is also signing up, and our hairdresser's mother has signed up, and I really like her, yes. Heidi. And so
see, Bradley, we listen.
Oh, I should sign up for the second one. And then I said to myself, you have got a 9-month-old dog that needs training classes, because that's the other thing I wanted to do is sign up for training classes with, group classes with him, because he needs the socialization, he needs the stuff. And I can't sign up for everything. So I said yes to dog training and no to choir. And much as I enjoy choir, I will not miss a training class. And you've seen me, choir tonight. I have to go to choir.
But she always has fun. Like the next day, she's like, it was fun.
It's always great. It's always great when I go. But you know what? I will go to every training class.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
so that's that. But you know what? Fear of missing out is one thing. But what did you just call this one? JOMO.
The joy
of missing out.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, because I can tell you, in my little office, I have painting things.
Oh my God. Yes, here we go.
Sketching things. Mm-hmm. And how to write a book in 30-day things. And
jewelry making.
No, I'm still on the jewelry making. I do have a whole new thing for that too. I still I've been not doing it because it's messy and we keep showing the house, right?
Yeah.
So my new thing is and you see these purses. I actually brought you something from Thailand, that little jiggly thing. You know what I mean? You already have it.
Okay.
The thing that's on your purse, I gave it a clip.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm going to do, because I've got a canvas purse, what I'm going to do is coolly bling it up a bit. And so you put a scarf on it. You put some of the hangy things, and you do all of that. So I'm going to do those. So my sister is the queen of going to like secondhand stores, so she could get purses for cheap, and she's got jars of all these beads and stuff that are broken that she has, so she can keep buying those, and you make those. Ooh. And what I thought I would do is either, gifts for sure, but then you could do something, because some of them, because I started researching them, you can get them online, and they go from like $200 to $800 or $1,000 for the cool ones. I thought, what if you could do a small line that was like $30, so the average person could buy it, because these are all recycled.
Right.
So it probably costs you $10 for the thing.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I have arthritis in my hands, so doing these things is good
for your hands.
Right. But it's also really fun to come up with the ideas, and it was like so because I'm all about that right now. I'm all about I don't like it that there are certain people that get certain things in life because other, you know what I mean? Like, what if you wanted one of those purses and nobody, like, I can tell you, I've never paid over $50 for a purse in my life, right? But there are people that could.
I wish I could say the same.
But purses have never been my thing.
Oh, I love purses.
I've paid, a lot for jewelry and things, but then I think about, what about those people that are like, I would love one of those, right? Mm-hmm. And then what if you could do it, and you could do it, so for every one you go off and sell, you could do one, and you could take it to, say, a shelter where somebody's coming out of so something, how hairdressers do stuff?
You're bringing equity. Is it equity or equality?
Equity.
Equity?
Yes, equity.
Yes, you're bringing equity to the blingy purses.
Right, and I thought
arena,
because my sister's getting them, so I have to bring her in on it. So we thought we'd call it the bag ladies.
Oh, I love it.
Right,
Oh,
but also it's a good thing. And I mean, I can only make so many I've made necklaces for everybody I know right now, so I've got to give it a break.
Yeah.
But I still have all these things, right?
Yeah.
And they're all like 90% of them are recyclable.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's very cool.
But that's like, but also going in and doing something like that, and that you can do it for 6 months, and after a while you've given it to everybody, and you're it's not fun anymore, and then you move on. So being fickle, sometimes works.
Well, it is. And I mean, you can see if I move in this direction that I have a lovely U1 Yamaha piano sitting there that gets played almost never. I very much cling to the idea that I will play piano one day. Mm-hmm. And today is not that day. But tomorrow might be. Right? And I shouldn't say I never play, because when I'm involved in a choir, I use that to practice.
Right.
And my grandkids come over, my gosh, and they always want to play piano with Granny.
See?
So I will keep that piano.
But also think about that, just that little thing that you just said, right? Mm-hmm. You're exposing them.
I'm at least as bad as you. We had to pare down a lot of my interests when we moved to this house, which was smaller than our other house. So, got rid of some of them, but I still have a lot of painting supplies,
yep.
both watercolor and acrylic and oil, as well as pastels. And I haven't done any of them. I've done some acrylic last winter, that's all.
I have 5,000 cookbooks.
Yeah, I love cookbooks. I got rid of a bunch of mine when we moved, and I regretted it almost immediately.
But the other thing is, those are the things you will go back to. Like, it's different, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something like there's stuff sometimes you buy, like, I go in stages of wanting a scooter. You know how often I drive a scooter? 3 times and I'd be done with it. Right? I have these visions
well, here
of
you might
the
actually.
scarf.
Like a scooter or one of those ones
like
you can take on the
Vespa.
road. Or like a Vespa, yeah. I know somebody who bought a Vespa. I was super excited. I think she rode it like 3 times.
Yeah, but that's just it, right? Like, the thing is, you got to, again, every time you say yes, but you can. There are things you can put away. I also, for quite a while, had, except it dries out, which I didn't realize, clay, so you could make things.
Oh, clay, yeah. Ray has some of that. Yeah, it
does dry out.
It does dry out. Yeah, it doesn't last forever. Same with paints, actually. They don't. So I probably
have
maybe
he is going in the hot tub now.
Oh, looks like he.
Are you going now? Okay, he's going. Does Paul know that?
Yeah, I texted him.
You said I just showered. That's not what it...
Oh, you know what, though? That's polite. To shower before you go into someone else's hot tub.
But that's very nice.
Yeah.
But also, what I took from that was, like, no, I'm not getting the hot tub. I already showered. That's what I thought, too.
Yeah. I'm getting showered, getting dressed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So there.
There we go.
Okay, what else we got? Where are we? Oh, we're 56. We're trying to keep them...
I think we're
getting there. See, Paul didn't know either, just for the record.
Okay.
We clearly don't hang around polite people.
Oh, I've just shamed him into it many times, that's all.
He had a sad face when I told him I just showered. He sent me a sad face emoji.
Oh, did he?
So I'm doing
So
this
you
right
changed it, you are.
now. I'm doing this right
Okay.
Paul, who had the best day of his life in golf.
Yes.
There goes Ray.
My
goes
butt
Ray.
is so sore from the ass kicking he gave me.
That is awesome.
Yep. Nope, that's good.
Well, I think maybe we're ready to
done.
wrap up. So what are you grateful for right now, Ruthie?
Okay. Well, I'm grateful that, these people are thinking about our house, so I could stop having to be so freaking tidy. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy for someone like me, just saying. What are you
Your house is
grateful for?
always tidy. I am grateful for the fact that we have
Bubbles.
bubbles, we have wine open.
And potato
It's
chips.
just no fun to have wine without you, actually.
See.
So, and we're also going to try and revive the pizza oven.
Yes, we are.
And do the spring pizza oven pizza. We'll see how that goes. So
Yep.
I'm very
We're doing
grateful
that.
for pizza.
We'll take pictures.
Yeah. Or not, because
Or
we might
not.
forget. But we'll try.
We'll see.
Anyway, what do we want more of, Ruth?
More happy hours and democracy.
Yes, absolutely.
What do we want less of, Roxanne?
Less bullshit.
Yes.
Always.
Yep.
Thanks for being with us, you guys.
Okay.
I hope you have a great week, a great couple of weeks.
I hope they can't see that on your screen.
No, they won't.
Yeah, I don't know. They saw the thumbs up. Okay.
We don't know.
See you guys later.